Coming to you live from my apartment. It's Rob Has a Podcast. Now, here's the guy who's never going to ask you about your aqua dump. I'm Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Survivor recap here for Survivor 49. And I am so thrilled to be here with a woman who knows her way around a Survivor island, knows her way around a Survivor podcast. Please welcome co-creator of Puzzle Hungry. It's Rachel LaMont. Rachel, how are you?
Hi, Rob. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so glad you're not going to ask me about my aqua dump.
I won't. You
Are
can.
you
I mean,
happy to
if
hear
you
about
want
that?
to talk about it, you can. But I'm not going to bring it up.
Okay. There was a lot of bodily fluid talk and
Yeah,
visuals in this premiere.
yeah. Honestly, I said it with Steven on the Know-It-Alls that I thought that the vomit was the most memorable moment that happened from the premiere.
I I audibly gasped. I was not prepared.
No one was
Um,
ready. No one was ready for
you're
this.
expecting them to just like, yeah, not the like just explosion.
Never. Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked Nicole about this. I said, Nicole, were you sick? What was going on? She said, I took a vitamin and I took it without water and on an empty stomach. And then that caused that explosion. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Relatable.
brutal. I mean, is it?
You always got to take a vitamin with food. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Rachel, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm incredibly busy, but so happy that Survivor is back on. Yeah, it's an odd thing. I feel like 48, I'd met a lot of 48 people, and so watching it felt sort of like watching my own season where you kind of know who people are before you start watching. And then 49, very disconnected, very casual of me.
Yeah.
First time ever since I've started watching Survivor that I didn't tune into preseason content. So most of these faces last night were the first time I have even like known people's names, matched them to faces. So it was kind of fun. It felt
Yeah.
like the fan experience again a
Watch it
little.
like a normie.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking forward to hearing your fresh perspective on everything. If anybody missed it earlier this week, we posted a podcast that Rachel did about a brand new board game that Rachel is launching. If anybody missed it, you want to just quickly tell them what you've been up to with Puzzle Hungry?
Yeah, it's a competitive jigsaw puzzle board game, and
Don't tell Rizzo.
don't tell Rizzo.
Don't Riz
Although
God.
he
Don't
might find a way
play
to
Puzzle
break the game.
Hungry.
He might be able to win just by
If
outwitting
Alex is playing
everybody
next to
else.
him, maybe he could win.
Yeah, I was I can't wait to talk about that because that was probably one of my favorite parts of the episode. But yeah, Puzzle Hungry, we're gonna launch in a few weeks. Playresolve.com to find out more information, sign up for emails. Yeah. And listen to the podcast because I think it was pretty good. Rob played it with his family.
I did. We
So
had a lot of
yeah.
fun. Very fun with my 12-year-old Dominic, who is always looking for something to do with his hand. So it was a perfect game for him to play. But
And he beat you, right?
he did win, yes.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this new game, Survivor 49, 2-hour Survivor premiere. What was your biggest takeaway, Rachel?
The monster's back, Rob.
The monster is back. It's Act 1 of the horror movie, they say.
Yeah, I mean, it felt very familiar. I feel like New Era Survivor, there wasn't too much different that
Yeah.
we didn't see coming, but at the same time, I like that there was no mud in the marooning challenge. There was mud in the first immunity challenge, but we got to actually see people through the first challenge, which is nice, easier to recognize them, get to kind of put faces to names a little bit better. And I think that might have been the most fun, like sweat savvy follow-up challenge,
Mm-hmm.
purely because of the people in it, I
I believe
think,
it's called
more than
the
the challenge
Fight for
itself.
Supplies.
Sorry. Casual here,
Mm-hmm.
Supplies.
Okay. So, how about this? I thought that Survivor 49 has struggled a little bit to have an identity in the shadow of Survivor 50. Is that how you're feeling also about Survivor 49?
It's tough. It's a tough spot to be the ninth season in the new era. The kind of end cap of this run that has been pretty formulaic and all with people anticipating season 50 coming, with, you know, a couple people from this season going to be on 50. I think that there's just so much there that, um, yeah, it feels a little bit like 49 is in a shadow, but then at the same time, it's sort of like this underdog. I think that I'm not saying people don't expect much from them, but I think they're so looking forward to 50 that I think that 49 could like blow us away and we would be very
Yeah.
happily surprised by that.
There certainly is that possibility, and Jeff has alluded to the back half of the season being super exciting. But I think that, and I always am looking for the silver lining. I think that this might have been the most uneventful Survivor premiere of the new era.
Wow. That's a silver lining?
Well, I think back. No, I look for it, and so it's hard for me to say that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
like, I think back to your season, and we had, of course, the meltdown on the mat and everything that went on
Yeah.
with Andy, and that was a great premiere, I thought, in Survivor 47 and in Survivor 46. Everything with Jelinski, and in Survivor 45. It was, a big start with Emily, calling out Bruce. And ultimately, you had everything with, it ended in a quit. So there was like controversy. And 48, maybe not as much, but 49, I just feel like that there wasn't a ton. We like all these people. Everybody seems very fun. Everybody's in good spirits. But ultimately, it wasn't like that there was, other than Nicole vomiting, there wasn't a
An
huge
explosion.
a huge moment that was
Yeah.
like, wow, all right,
No, I
Survivor is
completely
finally
agree.
back.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that um it didn't help that I feel like a lot of the tribe dynamics at this point in the game naturally are still kind of like everything's fine, everything's great, we're just having a good time here, which
Yeah.
is often the first couple days because you're not, other than the tribe that goes to tribal, like there isn't a whole lot of reason to have conflict yet, but it's not helping with the interest of, like having everyone just go around and be like, this is so great, is not, it's not the most ideal TV.
Yeah, and I think that there's something there that everybody comes in, everybody's so positive, everybody's in such a good mood, everybody's so excited to be there. And I think that then that carries over onto the beach where everybody's very excited to be on the beach. Everybody's putting their best foot forward and everybody is really happy about everything. And I think that where in these new era seasons, sometimes it takes a couple of weeks where we need one of these tribes to become the full-on disaster tribe to break the spell of the Survivor euphoria of just being there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the blue tribe, Kele,
Hmm.
has potential to be our disaster tribe. They feel very um kind of all over the place
Yeah.
in a fun way, and I'm hoping we'll get that from them. But I agree. I think and I can't, I didn't do this, but I would love to see somebody on the mat and Jeff goes how are you feeling, Rob? And you're just like, this is
I'm
awful. I don't want to be
pissed.
here. I don't want to be here.
I don't want to be
I
here.
hate it. Like that would be such a change
Yeah.
of pace.
Well, I wonder if maybe that's one of the reasons that like Emily was such a breakout character, where in Survivor 45 that she was somebody who, came to the mat and was just not in, completely like, "Yeah, everything is great." She pushed back famously against what Bruce was doing. And maybe that's one of the reasons why she is such a memorable figure in the new era. But even with this blue tribe, that they did seem largely, and I thought that Jeff even had some frustration with this group where it's like, hey, that's great. You're all happy to be here and everything, but look at the ship. They thought
Yeah.
everything was good that day. Thought they were going for a nice sail on the ocean and they hit a rock and that's where
Yeah.
you're going.
Yeah, well, it's tough too because it feels, again, with six-person tribes, like very clearly this blue tribe, there is a majority for two people on the bottom. Which one's it gonna be? Like that's
Yeah.
doesn't bring a lot of drama or reason for other people on that tribe to be more forthright or direct about how they feel. Like why would they? Why would you
Right.
jeopardize your spot? Whereas I think if this was a 10-person tribe, there would be more of a reason for me to be like, you know what, Rob, you're kind of annoying. Like, and just say more directly the things that are probably already happening. But we're just letting gloss over because you can't risk your spot.
Yeah, it's just so easy to be that first person out in the 6-person tribe. Do you think that players might be a little tight in terms of coming into the game and have to be extra nice to everybody?
Yeah, because you don't know. Like you say one wrong thing to the wrong person,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even have to do that, right? Because they could just make something up, but they're probably not going to do that. But you say one thing to the wrong person who's like, that makes me not trust you, or I don't like that, or it reminds me of this. And they'll find every reason to bury you. Like, you just have to be on your best behavior so that you can get through that first tribal and feel like you have some semblance of like the pecking order and the group dynamics, because it's really, really tough to tell the first couple days.
This tribe that went to tribal council, the Kele tribe, where we have that 4 that we saw come together in the episode. I had thought that maybe Nicole and Annie were aligned. I spoke with Nicole this morning. I asked her about it. She said no, actually her and Annie like did not get along really at all. So it was a situation where I think that 4 felt even more comfortable and safe going into tribal council, whereas okay, they had their 4 and then they were just going to pick. It wasn't even like a situation like we saw last season where Stephanie and Mary were the 2 on the bottom, and maybe it's like, hey, could we get one person to flip and get one person to vote? So it really was just all fun and games for that big 4.
Yeah, that's even more frustrating actually. And then Nicole said, did she say, I'm sorry, I didn't watch her exit press, but did she say that she thought it might be her? Or was she pretty convinced that it was Annie? Because she
She was
said,
convinced it was Annie.
okay,
And
in the
so,
episode, she said that she would play her shot in the dark, and she did not do that.
yeah,
So interesting.
it's interesting. I feel like that it could have been a scenario where should Annie and Nicole both have played their shot in the dark?
Oh, yeah, they could have, right?
I mean, you're the innovator on the shot in the dark. What do you think of that?
It's not a bad idea, but I think that the problem with doing that is if, in this case, Annie was a part of this group, allegedly, that was voting out Nicole. She was on the right side of the votes. Playing her shot in the dark doesn't exactly prove very much faith in her new alliance that she's
Mm-hmm.
hoping to bond with. So I think that as much as it can sound like an easy out, it also makes you look kind of squirrely. And now you don't have a shot in the dark. And Annie was right that she probably will be next if they go
Yeah.
back.
And it's purely like a defensive play because
Mhm.
it just buys you that you get to stay in the game, where Annie's concern was, okay, well, I might get through tonight, but then I'm going to be the next person voted out. So it's not even like, okay, I played the shot in the dark and now Alex goes home. It's like, okay, now
Right.
you played the shot in the dark and then just Nicole goes home
Yeah.
instead. Actually, I don't even know if Nicole goes home because I think if they both play the shot in the dark, then there would be, no votes for Nicole because if everybody else voted for Annie.
Oh, that's true. But then they would have revoted and voted out Nicole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Either way, she's kind of. But so do you think? Okay, with the news that she was never with Annie, does that mean that conversation we saw where Annie was trying to get together with Sophie and Jeremiah and Nicole, I thought, as the 4 to go against the 2 guys, was that a fake conversation? Was that like,
It's hard to tell because I think that she maybe felt like that she could pitch that to Nicole, but I think it was more of a pitch for Sophie. I'm trying to remember if Nicole was present for that
she
conversation.
wasn't? I
Yeah.
don't think.
Because I
Yeah.
think that that's something that Nicole could definitely have used also to bury Annie if she felt like it. I
Right.
was getting into this with Steven last night. What did you think about Sophie's decision to tell the group about what Annie was proposing?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think on the one hand, if the dynamics are as we now know, which is there's these 2 people on the outs and that don't get along, and this 4, there's no reason for her not to tell, because if then it comes out later, Annie goes and tells somebody else,
Hmm.
tells Jeremiah, and Jeremiah goes and tells the boys. Now Sophie looks like she was a part of this plan, or was at least seriously considering it, since she did not tell them. And it seems like Sophie had no desire to tell them, which I think is another conversation we should have, because Sophie goes to Jake and says, I want you to be my number one. And he goes, yeah, Alex and you. And
Mm-hmm.
then later throughout the entire episode, we see the two of them. And then Sophie gets, jealous and goes and kind of makes a duo with Jeremiah. But I feel like, is that okay? Should Sophie be letting that happen? Should she immediately kind of say like, well, I don't know. I think you go to someone and you earnestly say like, I want to work with you, and they outright tell you that they're going to put someone else in front of you. That's kind of a weird thing to me.
Well, I would turn it back around to you, because as somebody who's played in the new era, is that as big of a deal where it's not a season where there's a final two? I do feel like that there was a little bit of this in your season on your tribe where, okay, with, Sam and Sierra of like,
Mhm.
but it was also that Sierra is she part of the Girls Alliance, or is she actually working with Sam? That's like maybe taking her game in a totally different direction. But am I
Yeah.
in a 2-person alliance or am I in a 3-person alliance? I just don't know if it's that big of a deal, especially this early on.
That's fair. I guess I was taken aback by the order of things, and maybe that wasn't the real order. We were shown out of order. But I think that if the first person I approached on the beach and I was like, I want to be your number one, and they looked at me
Mm-hmm.
and said, yeah, but I think
Yeah.
that would be a huge red flag for me
I'd
right
say,
off the
girl,
bat.
he's just not that into you.
um yeah, also interesting, like, do we think, I do feel like we saw enough of the two of them together that it seems like Alex has bought into the duo as well, but we hear predominantly from Jake about the dynamics of this twosome, this bromance, this non-sexual relationship that they have.
Don't
uh
get it twisted, anybody.
don't get twisted. So do we do you believe that Alex and Jake are because
So Alex is my winner pick. I'm very high on Alex. I was definitely nervous during the episode that Sophie was going to turn things around and get him voted out. I just think he is very warm and is somebody who it's easy to bond with him. Nicole talked about her bond with him. We saw he had a bond with Annie. We saw he has that great bond with Jake. So I think that he's somebody who is going to have a good relationship with almost everybody on the tribe. So I think that he's not just number ones with Jake. I think that Jake looks at Alex, that's my number one, but I think that
yeah.
Alex might be a little bit more open-minded in
Who
terms
do
of
you
his number one.
think who do you think his ideal number one would be or should be?
Well, it sounds like we saw him with Annie, and there was that conversation where it's like, hey, she's like, don't say it, don't you dare, don't
Don't call me
say,
mother.
don't call me mother, and
Okay, grandmother.
yeah, you more remind me of my boss. And he says his boss is his best friend
But also a grandmotherly figure.
and also a grandmother. Yes.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was brutal. And, but then she also throws him under the bus. That's where I'm a little confused about the dynamics on this tribe, because you would think that Annie having this bond with Alex that we allegedly see, why wouldn't Annie propose Sophie, Jeremiah, Alex, and her, like, as the four, versus like, if she doesn't even
Maybe
want
she wasn't
Nicole and she
buying
doesn't
it.
like Jake. Yeah, I just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really tough. It's really tough in these. It's hard to know what conversations are real, what they're for show.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Rachel, I want to go back to the immunity challenge
yeah.
where that there was this 3-person snake table maze. Now,
Yes.
if I am remembering correctly, you, I believe, were a witness to this challenge in Survivor 47, famously when you tried to steal the rice. Is it the
Yes.
same challenge?
It is the same challenge. 3 platforms, 3 strings, the people working together. And I wasn't super paying attention because I was stuffing my pockets with rice.
Okay, so you don't have any interesting insights about the way
Well,
that people
okay.
are doing this challenge.
I do think that I thought it was interesting that Jeff called the center person the caller, which I guess there
Yes.
is there was an element of that. Sam was in the middle on ours, and he was definitely calling the shots.
Right.
But I kind of believe that if Sam had been on the side, he would have still been calling the shots. So I don't know that the center is necessarily the spot. It's other than you're in close proximity to both other people. I think what's interesting and what seemed to happen with the Blue Tribe, which did also happen with Gata at one point, is that Nicole was like, "Can you pull it any tighter? Can you pull it any tighter?" And Annie was like, "I'm at the end." And that happened with Annika and Sam, and they got into kind of a spat about it. And that's because we had had a meltdown in the prior immunity challenge. We had this like code thing where we're like, if we start getting frustrated, yell stop, and everyone yelled stop. And then Annika was able to show Sam that like the only way she could move any tauter is if she stepped off the platform, which she was not allowed to do. And that was, so they were able to kind of get it back together, which is how we got through that challenge.
Yeah. Do you want maybe the person with the most length in terms of like their
I think the
wingspan
on the outside is
because
crucial.
what you're describing is similar to what Nicole told me about what was going on with Annie, where Annie was complaining of the same thing. When I asked Nicole about the challenge, I said, "Nicole, was it as simple as, you were the caller on the challenge and the tribe felt like that you blew it?" And Nicole felt like, she's like, "I didn't feel like I blew the challenge at all. I feel like it was Annie's fault." And I felt like that was the reason why we were getting rid of Annie, was because she kept saying that she couldn't make the rope anymore taut because she didn't have enough rope. And Alex, I think, was the other person on the other side. And that was an issue between them, the communication issues of like pulling the ring. So, yeah, I don't know necessarily if that comes up again, if the way to do it is just have your tallest people on the edges.
Yeah, I think so. But I also, I'm not exact. I'm not a physics person, but I do think that between the three strings, it's not always up to one person. I think two people generally have to work together to switch the angle of what's going on. And so I don't know that like Nicole and who was on it, Jake. Nicole and Jake are like, immune from blame because it really, I think all three kind of shift together. And it was probably just a lack of understanding who needed to move what at what time. But it seemed probably the worst for Annie if they were trying to move a certain direction that Annie's predominantly pulls. Yeah, it's not an easy, I think it's a pretty hard one.
Were you surprised that then after Sophie outs what Annie is thinking about this plan to maybe blindside one of the guys, that it comes back around and it's still Nicole?
Yes and no. Yes, because a lot of times, you even saw when they were like, well, let's vote Annie. Alex is like, whoa, 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 whoa. I think that it's jarring to allow the plan to switch that quickly, because if it does it once, is it going to do it again? Like, who's it going to switch onto next? So I think that there's always that element of fear in like not allowing the plan to just change in a moment's notice, because then what's stopping it from changing to somebody else again? But no, because I also feel like, I don't know, it all seemed pretty against Nicole. And I'm still not entirely sure why. Other than, yeah, she stepped up for puzzles, I guess twice, and did not like, they didn't win either time. But yeah,
Yeah.
that first vote, it's such a crapshoot.
The only thing that we could come up with was that maybe was Alex vouching for Annie because he felt like that he had this secret relationship with her, but he was the person that she was kind of throwing under the bus with her plan. So you would think that he would be out on that. So I don't know, maybe we'll find out more next week. As far as that 4-person alliance goes, something I was rewatching the episode this morning. I saw the conversation between Jeremiah and Jake. And Jeremiah goes to Jake and says, "Hey, nobody would ever suspect us working together. Do you want to work together?" And Jake's first question is like, "Oh, like you want like a secret alliance?" And Jeremiah's like, "No, like how about like a strong 4?" And what do you think is a better way to go? Is the secret alliance, which sounds like better on paper, and we just saw it work and pay off great dividends for not as much for Camilla, but for Kyle. Or is it better? Do you want to be in like the public strong 4?
I think this early, it should be public. Like, what are you hiding? If you're
Yeah.
hiding, you're allowing somebody to just lie to you
Yes.
behind closed doors and then, do whatever they actually want in public. And I think
It's a red
especially
flag.
it's a red flag. And I think
Yeah.
especially when it's someone like Jake who is so openly aligned with like
Everything.
Alex or like you need him to show, not tell.
Jake doesn't have any secret things.
No.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about that? Can we talk about like Rizzo talking about his entire backstory and Jake talking about his child being born next week? And like, there's so much, like what I would call final tribal storytelling happening
Yeah.
in day one. How do you feel about that, Rob? Do you think that that's just how it is now? I would be concerned about. I grew up in a 500 square foot like room with my family. Like that's yeah.
Listen, Rachel, you're the one who I think is going to have a better finger on the pulse of where the meta is in the new era, where I think we certainly came into the new era because I think that that was more of an old era thing of you think about Jeremy and you think about Adam and you think about people that had like really great final tribal councils where they had a reveal. And yeah, Kyle admitted that he's a lawyer, but I don't think that those were the things that really have swung final tribal councils. I think the thing that has swung these final tribal councils, and again, the expert is here with me, is revealing game information more so than people who have revealed pre-game personal information.
You're right. I don't think that it necessarily makes, I guess, yeah, you're right. It doesn't necessarily, I'm not saying save it for final tribal as but I think that it paints a target on you if you do it earlier. Like Kyle Oswald from my season was never getting to the end because his entire story was like, I've got a baby and a baby on the way, and I grew up like in foster care. And like, you can't, as a player, I remember thinking, like, I have no idea if that is going to get votes at the end, but I can't risk the possibility that it will, And so it's just, I don't think that it's a good strategy to talk about your backstory like that if it's one that could make a difference, because people are going to weigh that in their head, and
Yeah.
it could make you like more of a target than you would have been if you didn't talk about it.
Much like Annie or Annika with the rope, I think there is a little bit of a push-pull on that because I think that some of that stuff is going to buy you some authenticity with people where it's like, oh,
Sure.
I like this person. I want to work with them, that they come from a good background. They'll look at it, he has a big heart. And so I do want that. I think in the case of Kyle, I wonder if it maybe was just so omnipresent where it seemed like from a TV perspective, that was like his whole personality was how, my family has nothing and I'm here to only provide for my family. And
Yeah.
when it comes to them, I keep it $1.50.
Always. No, I mean, you're right. I think that that was a lot of what Kyle talked about out there. And yeah, that's probably true. I just think that there are maybe steps to that. We don't have to be revealing the full story on day
What did
one.
you reveal about yourself to people?
Not a ton, not
Not
as
a
little as
lot.
Genevieve, but yeah, I mean, I talked about my husband, I talked about like my parents. I grew up in Thailand. I talked about some of these things, but I made really sure to, I was like, oh, I go to art. I went to art school, like
Hmm.
you just try to kind of downplay the things about yourself, because you don't want to make it sound like you don't want to give anybody a reason. You don't want them to think you are too smart or have too much money or are too privileged. Like whatever it is, they're going to look at you differently. They're creating this picture of you in their mind. It's very early, and one little piece of information can change that. Like what car you drive, like a lot of
Hmm.
those things tell a lot about you. And so yeah, I think you just have to be kind of careful.
Rachel, season 49 has been the season of alternates. It's alternate island
Oh my
on season
God. I
49.
couldn't believe that I'm blanking on his name. Jason. I couldn't believe that he just came out with it on the mat. I was so paranoid about that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I think all the players knew that it must have been a whole situation at Ponderosa where two people got pulled, and then
Right, but that's
these other
still, no
people.
one would know who the alternate was. You know, like
Okay.
no one would know that Jason was the alternate. Like they don't know until the morning
Mm-hmm.
that they leave and you just don't go with them. So,
Yeah.
unless something crazy happened and that's not how it went, in my experience of my two
When did they take
seasons.
a cast photo? Like, had they taken a cast photo already, and
Oh, you're
then
right. Because he said he found out the night
the
before. So
night
they would
before?
have known. They would have known. You're right. Okay. Yes. They take the cast photo like the day before the game starts generally.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay. If he found out the night before, then they would have already known. However, not everyone's paying attention. So still might not have all known.
Yeah.
But okay, that makes more sense because that was jarring to me. And I mean, I'm happy for him though. Who's the other
Yeah.
one? MC?
MC. Yeah. Now,
Okay.
did you hear anything about this story that there were these people that were talking at Ponderosa and they were, I think that Jeff has called it blatant disrespect of the rules?
I I am shocked by this, Rob. The amount of like time and energy you put into getting on this show between the interviews and the testing and like everything you do, you put your life on hold for months and to go out there and there's no way that they talked once and got kicked off, you
No.
know? Like it had to have been a repeat offense
Yeah.
that they were like strictly talked to about and to keep doing it, like, to try to get away. I'm a pretty big rule follower. To try to get away with
Yeah.
it, okay, try it once. To get reprimanded and then continue to do it actually boggles my mind. Like, I would love to know who these people are and talk to them about, like, what they
We'll
were
never know.
thinking. We'll
They'll never
never
be on the show.
know.
We'll have
It's
to see if they end up
crazy.
on like Squid Game the Challenge one day.
Yeah, that'll be their backstory.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm 371. I was actually on Survivor 49. I was passing notes. They kicked me out.
couldn't
But
keep my mouth shut.
Jeff said that they had this issue. The handlers of Ponderosa reported it. He said that they gave them like a stern talking to. And then, like, very quickly after that, they said that it got worse.
Do you think that they were like, okay, I'm just rampant speculation, but do you think that they were like, what do you get out of that, Rob? If you and I decide that we can talk in pregame and
Right.
we're going to break the rules, is it because we found out we're on the same tribe? Like, I was like, oh, are you on yellow?
Hey, let's work together.
Actually, they were both on yellow, right? Because MC
Yeah.
and
Hey,
Jason. So they probably found out they were on the same tribe somehow.
we're gonna be, let's, like, why can't you just do that when you get there? Like, what are they
And what does
doing?
that buy you other than just being like, okay, we get a 24-hour head start on everybody else. And like, I now know that you are sneaky enough to be willing to break the rules, which probably means you're sneaky enough to stab me in the back anyway. You're playing so freaking hard.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't really get the upside of it at all. But it's good for MC and
Yeah.
Jason. Good for them.
Now, did you even know that this was a possibility when you were an alternate in Survivor 46? Did you know that there was a possibility of like, hey, somebody could get kicked out of Ponderosa for bad behavior? Like, would you have been like rooting for Jelinski to be like sending hand signals
Look,
to Charlie?
I'm not naming names, but people get away with whispers and talking. And if I had any idea, I had seen a couple that I was like annoyed
You could have
about,
been a
and
whistleblower.
I could have been, but again, it's just like I didn't think that they could just get kicked out for that. You know, like it would have been a matter of getting like scolded, and then I just assumed that they would stop. I never like, yeah, maybe I should have been telling on people, but no, I really thought the only path to me getting on as an alternate was someone getting hurt, you know.
Yeah. Who knew? I didn't know that this was something that they would do. And there's alternates all over the place because, of course, we have Jason, who got mentioned in the episode. MC, also an alternate, did not get mentioned in the episode. But as I found out during the draft the other night, we have Sage, who is
Our
such a
alternate.
big character, who was the alternate in Survivor 47.
Yeah.
Did she have a big alternate energy when you saw her in Survivor 47? Could you tell?
No. So the only I had guessed at who the alternates were, and the only reason she was amongst the three people that I guessed, but it was only because there were like three beautiful, like like blonde, you know, like I just felt like there was too many of the same looking style people. And so I was like, I think maybe one of those people. But her, to me, she looked like she's tall, she's strong. Um, she like wore a full face of makeup, but also looked like a badass, like she could like
Mm-hmm.
mess me up. And so like I felt like she, to me, was someone that I kind of assumed would be on, because she felt like kind of like multiple worlds colliding in one, like and she was, you know, she is former military, so like it was a decent read. But yeah, she felt like a model that like was also like
Mm-hmm.
a badass. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really liked her energy. We sat very far apart from each other, so we did
Okay.
not have too much interaction.
She didn't have a chance to ask you about anything from the bathroom or about collecting
Mm-mm.
pimple. Did you know that she collects blackheads in a
I
jar? Did you know
did
that?
not know that was a thing. I didn't think that anybody did that, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah, the burping, the peeing, the aqua dumping. Uh,
She said, I love poop.
and she did. I wrote that.
Yeah.
Sage loves poop was a note of mine. Yeah, I'm
No
very
survivors
curious
ever
to
said that
see.
before. That's another first for Survivor 49.
I'm very curious to see what happens with Sage in this tribe dynamic, because what I did notice, which is not great for my alternate girly, is that we heard a lot about the dynamics on the Red Tribe sans Sage. So we've
Yeah.
got the Savannah and Shannon, which seems like a good duo. They also like Juwan, but then maybe not, because Savannah didn't like how he, you know, got frustrated with the fire. Um, and they like Nate. And who's the fourth? Uh
Rizzo.
Rizo, right. And so we hear a lot about who's
Hmm.
our fourth going to be, who is our fourth going to be, and Sage doesn't really seem to be in that conversation.
Right. And I am not a edgic person. But I do feel like that all of the bodily function talk is probably like, I feel like as an old school person who a casual observer of edgic, I kind of feel like that they don't show that. Although Jam Jam did say he was going to poop in the ocean.
It's true.
So
Well, it's also not great when the only other person who got a lot of bodily talk was Nicole, right? So that's it's not good omen, maybe, for the other person getting a lot of that.
it just tends to like not
It's
fit
just a
the profile of
shallower
how
thing.
we don't see Rachel LaMont talking about all sorts of bodily functions.
It did happen occasionally, but
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't see it,
We
thankfully.
we didn't see it. Okay. So yeah, maybe it's not looking so hot for Sage. Another alternate here in this season, somebody who we did not see a lot of in the episode, actually was probably the only person that we didn't see too much from, was Sophie S. There's another Sophie.
Yes, yes, two Sophies, and neither of them were the alternate. How do we feel about that, Rob?
Well, one of them was an alternate in season 48.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I just I think it's wild. They almost never do same name, you know, anymore. So
Hmm.
yeah,
I'm
but
not a fan of it.
it's just a little confusing. But yeah, we didn't hear much from her. I think that the Yellow Tribe in general, we didn't get much from. We got the Steven and Christina duo, and that Christina hates birds. Sorry, Omer.
Hmm.
And
We really got
love
Steven had
vibes.
like main character energy on Yellow Tribe. It's a little bit like that he was, I don't know if you're a Sex in the City person, but he was basically like the Carrie Bradshaw. And I don't think that
Yeah, I
any
know.
of the side characters had a conversation with each other that wasn't a conversation with Steven.
Yeah,
Did we
and
see like Jason talk to Matt or Christina talk to MC? Like I think
not
it's
no, I
they
don't
only
really think
talk
so.
to the main character, the star of the show, Steven.
Do we think he's getting away with it? Do we think that, I mean, what's interesting is a lot of times we see kind of the you know, the person that's trying to be best friends with everybody, and then other people are clocking that, or they're
Hmm.
not buying into it. And I feel like after every conversation that Steven had, we got a confessional of that person being like, love Steven.
We
So I
love
think it's
Steven.
working,
The
right?
only thing that was bad was Steven like in his own head of like, wait, Am I
Yes.
too popular? Are they
Yes.
lying to me? Am I not as popular as I think I am? And like spiraling. And I just wonder, could it be Steven who ends up being the person who ends up going out? Does the rest of the tribe not last that long? He
I just want
seems
to
set
feel
up great.
accepted is a rough spot to be in on Survivor. Like, if that is your vibe, like, don't come into Survivor looking for validation. It's like the opposite of the place that you're going to get that. It's a very hard thing. You have to like feel very self-assured because people are going to be lying to you in a way that they would never lie to you in real life. So yeah, it worries me a little bit for him, um, because he is presumably in a very good spot and he's just letting his own like head get in the way of that potentially.
Well, how much of that is a good thing versus how much of it is a bad thing? Where I had seen a YouTube video recently where they said that, if having imposter syndrome is actually good because the only people that don't have imposter syndrome are people that are actually imposters who feel like, hey, I'm doing amazing and don't realize that they're actually doing bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it remains to be seen because is Steven just expressing this to us because he's in confessional and kind of like worried that
Hmm.
everything's going too well? If that's the case, then maybe it's going to be fine. Is he going to kind of spiral and become like too needy or start overplaying and being, go from somebody that everyone's buying into to being like, this guy is like trying a little too hard and I'm not feeling like it's genuine anymore. Like, we have to see where it goes. Does he act on his anxiety or does he feel it and just like allow himself to be in the spot he's in, which is a very good spot?
Yeah, this is another good thing to think about where you have these social butterflies who come out and are super warm and engaging and are everybody's best friend at the start of the game. Is that the type of gameplay that typically is rewarded in the end of Survivor? Or is it sort of like a sugar high in the beginning of the season, but then ultimately it doesn't stand the test of the game?
I think it's less about it not standing the test of the game and more about if that attention is going to get you in a place where you can't get to the end. Like, Kenzie gets to the end and has this very like bubbly personality, ability to connect with everyone and wins. I think that there is people like Tiana on my season that it was just so apparent that that was like her game that it just made her a target because it just wasn't, you're like, you are connecting with every single person and that's not something that I feel comfortable with because if you're watching that you don't know if am I actually the person or is the person over there that I'm watching you interact with the person, and that can kind of get in people's heads and make their own insecurities like, you know choose to go against you. So um it'll be interesting to see what happens with Steven. I can't tell either, the light edgic reading of is
Mhm.
this good for Steven because he's the main character on Yellow, or is this bad for Steven because he's the main character on Yellow?
Let's talk a little bit about the Yellow Tribe because this was the first time in the new era that the Yellow Tribe did not go to tribal council in the first episode.
I was like, are they gonna pull it off? Are they gonna pull it off? We
Hmm.
couldn't. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job,
So
Hina.
that includes, I believe it was Yasa in season
Mhm.
41. There was Baka in season 43.
Lulu
Lulu, of course, in
and
season 45.
Gata.
Gata. So, yeah, it's all the odd numbered seasons have a yellow tribe, and all four of them went to the first tribal council. So, congratulations to whatever this yellow tribe is named. They
Hina.
avoid, what are they called?
Hina.
Hina. Okay. They are not going to the first tribal council.
Whew. Thank goodness. Uh yeah, I'm happy for them. It's not easy to do in the new
Yeah.
era, apparently. And do you think it's because they felt like the feel good tribe
Hmm.
to an extent where it
The
almost
Vibes
didn't
tribe.
vibe, but like to the extent where it didn't feel real. Like on Red, they were saying it, but
They
then you
said
could
it.
tell there was dissent behind closed doors. On Yellow, it felt like everyone was buying in. So um it is easy to be a feel good tribe when you're winning. They won
Yeah.
the marooning and then they win the immunity challenge, but like, is it gonna last? What happens? What happens if they do lose? Like, is it imploding?
We have to wait and see on that. Really, there was no evidence to show us anything else. Do you think could they be a tribe that doesn't go to tribal council before the merge?
That's possible. I think we need to see more variety of challenges to
Yeah.
kind of like tell.
They're a really well balanced tribe where, you have Jason that we saw who is going to be, really a whiz at doing the puzzles. And then they have some physicality in a player like MC. They also have Matt, who's sort of like the jack of all trades Boy Scout, who is like probably
Yeah, I
a
like
little
Matt
bit.
a lot.
Yeah, he was very good. I think that he's going to be a fan favorite.
Yeah, he's fun. I feel like we haven't had I think generally when we've had like the older guy, it's been kind of the the more like blue collar older guy, which he is as well. But I think
Mhm.
that like in he's like the hippie version of that, right? It feels like he's got the dreads and he's got kind of this like I love the outdoors vibe versus why am I blanking on
John Lovett.
yes, that's no. Marianne and
Mike.
Mike Turner, thank you.
Mhm.
I feel like that has been more the vibe of the older guy, like Bruce, like people that are just like a little bit different than someone like Matt. Matt feels very unique. And I'm excited to see how he does. I like that he kind of waited around for everybody to ask him to help and stuff. Like all of that stuff was like
Yeah.
fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, he said that he waited for everybody else to try the fire before he ultimately did the fire. And Steven was like very complimentary about that. But how much of that do you think was that Matt did not want to show his hand in terms of being a fire maker? And it wasn't necessarily that he was being noble, but it was more that like, hey, I don't want people to know I'm so good at making the fire.
I took it more as like I don't want to be bossy.
Yeah.
Because we saw how on Red, Nate was like, okay, we should get cones, and everyone's like, yes, dad.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe Matt was trying to get away from the perception that he is the leader or that he has any kind of like, sway over the actions of everybody else, and is like, okay, kids, you try this first, and then when you fail, I'll be the savior.
Well, you know who that didn't work out so good for? A guy by the name of Steve Chicken Morris, okay? Is going to let everybody else do the thing, even though he knows how to do everything.
Hey, different season,
Damn.
we just
Another older guy.
yeah. You're right. But not new era, it's a whole new era now.
That was the
Rob.
old era. That was a
That's the
different
old era.
time. Okay. Speaking of the older guy, some contestants have taken to calling your former podcast co-host, Jeff Probst. There's a lot more Uncle Jeff talk.
I heard that too. I wasn't sure if I didn't write it
And
down because I was like, did he say Uncle
Rachel,
Jeff?
are you a Big Brother person?
I watched season 25, and that's
Okay.
kind of it.
All right. Well, in the last couple seasons, we've had some Auntie Julie talk of the contestants calling her Auntie Julie. Now we're getting Uncle Jeff. It used back in my day, it was Mr. Jeff.
Well, you and Jonathan.
I'm old enough to remember when it was Mr. Jeff. Now he's Uncle Jeff.
Yeah, I feel like we called him Dad once, and he did not like that. So maybe Uncle's like the better.
He only
the
responds
better
to father.
father. Yeah, I mean, he does read as more of an uncle, I think. But it's kind of funny. When is he going to become like Grandpa Jeff?
Well, Dalton Ross asked him about how do you feel about being called Uncle Jeff? And he said that D, after winning Survivor 45, said that he's like a father figure, but now he's more like a grandfather figure. So he doesn't mind Uncle Jeff.
Okay. All right. Unlike Annie, who does not want to be called mother or grandmother.
I think that if you were on X.com and you called her mother, I think she could live with that. But I think she does not want Alex to say she is like his mother or grandmother. But maybe would she prefer being Auntie Annie?
Auntie Annie.
And
yeah,
then she could make pretzels.
I feel like that does fit. It does fit a little bit better. That, if she could smell like that out there, she would be everyone's favorite person.
Okay, you said you wanted to talk about the fight for supplies.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I do.
Because it did involve a puzzle.
It did involve a puzzle, and someone, our guy Rizo, who's very bad. And not just because he was missing a couple pieces, but just generally seemed very bad at the puzzle. But I thought that this was such a clever. Okay, couple questions. First off, like kudos to Rizo for just saying, screw it, I'm gonna copy. But why, when Alex came back, saw that Rizo was trying to copy, looks at his thing again, why didn't he destroy it before he left? Like, I don't understand why he left it intact again. Was he worried he had to come back and look at it again?
I think that his issue was he's like, well, maybe I'm reading the map wrong, because it wasn't just like in Survivor where you have a completed puzzle and then it's like, okay, move on to the next stage, and then I'm going to, go full Michelle Fitzgerald and kick the puzzle over so now nobody can copy off of me. That Alex was unsure about the location that he had to dig. So I think he was afraid to undo his puzzle because he's like, I'm going to need to come back. Could he have just like taken like those like 4 pieces with him?
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, could you have just taken the like 6 around that and then just screwed the rest of it up and run out? Or just destroy it, because Rizzo's so bad at it that you can just put it back together if you really need to.
You really needed to? I mean, could you imagine? I mean, that would be a moment, an all-time moment over that Alex destroys his own puzzle and then has to put it back together later to go back and find it.
But I thought this was a very fun comeback to watch, and to hear the commentary from Rizo as he's doing it, where he's apologizing to Alex who's not even there. He's like, everything he was saying during it was making me laugh. And then for it to actually work and for him to actually get out there and find it, like, was Alex just not digging deep enough? It looked like Rizo had to dig relatively deep to find the wooden thing.
It's unclear. I don't think anybody knows the answer for sure. Jake O'Kane, I saw post that you need to dig about 2 to 3 feet deep on Survivor to find the thing. I don't know necessarily why Jake is the expert on this. I'm trying to think back to what he dug up in a challenge, but he says that's what it is.
Maybe they had that challenge with the huge circle where they had to dig up a bunch of bags. I kind of feel like maybe that happened on that season, but it's just a bummer. That's tough. And digging sucks. Digging sucks more than anything else you have to do in any challenge. I wonder, I don't know. I want someone to take this shot of his puzzle and then the overhead shot of him and everywhere he dug and see, like, where was he supposed to be digging? Did he
really seem like he was in the right spot, because there were like 2 logs that sort of, it was framed, and it seemed like that he was totally in the right spot. And I don't know how much of a lead he had over Rizo.
It felt like a long time.
I
mean, Rizo was like, I'm copying and I'm still not getting the puzzle. Like, I don't know. That's it's tough. It's tough for Alex, but was happy that Rizo got that win, because that felt like the epitome of outwit,
And then he came back as a bit of a hero. And I was talking about this with Steven. I feel like it's even in like a year, I feel like that this fight for supplies has come a long way since when Asia and TK did it, where
found the keys.
Yeah, where people are very excited for Rizo. It turns out like it didn't buy TK much, and people thought that Asia might have had an advantage, but it seemed to have and neither of these tribes were the tribes that went to tribal council. I'm sorry, Alex did go to tribal council, but it seemed like it was like had no impact whatsoever on what's going on back at the camp.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, I think having Jake be so obsessed with Alex without ever having talked to him before helped him a lot. But it did feel like it probably bought some good grace for Rizo. And I think Kevin got a good boost from that last season, right? Especially because he went in injured and he still managed to win.
He still got voted out
Kyle.
next. Yeah,
he did, but yeah, you're right. Okay, guess not that much good grace. Yeah.
And Kyle lost it and won the whole show. So what does it mean?
If it's arbitrary, nothing matters.
Yes, often the case, Rachel.
But hey, Rob, do you ever wish you could hug yourself, but you think it's too weird?
I feel like that I am not into all of the woo-woo meditation, but I feel like it's probably like self-soothing behavior to hug yourself.
um, yeah, how do you feel about Shannon's I'm gonna be this like meditative woo-woo and then actually be very strategic underneath? Do you think it'll work? It'll get away with?
You think it's a cover? Because I feel like
Yeah.
that's who she is. I feel like she seems authentic. I feel like that's who she is. She's trying to bring both of these things into the mix. I don't think it's a winning game. I think that you sort of like where we've seen in the past where coach is like leading the Tai Chi, the coach Chi on the beach and everything.
Yeah.
You can get the people to do it. And we've seen Parvati teach a yoga class before, but I don't know. I just feel like that when it's sort of like, okay, I am
Yeah.
going to, be of a certain energy. And I think that you sort of then, when that person has lied to you and double crossed you, I feel like unless you just have like the off the charts, charisma like a Parvati, I think that that is a tough lane to pull off.
Yeah. It's sort of like the I'm gonna be your mother figure. And like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
sort of like a losing recipe. But then what's interesting about that is that Savannah seemed the most skeptical and yet also is Shannon's closest ally from what we can see. So
Mhm.
um that doesn't, so it's sort of an interesting, like to me, I felt like Savannah's read was she's giving this, but she actually is very like cunning and strategic behind the scenes. But maybe she's reading that that isn't the best combination and she wants to ally herself with that. So I don't know.
Yeah, Shannon seems strong. Do you feel like that maybe the yogi also reads as somebody who is probably going to try to be pretty authentic and somebody who's more of a straight shooter and not somebody who is very duplicitous?
Yeah, I do. And I think early in the game, it's good to have that people to have that read on you and like want to invest in you because they think that you probably won't lie to them or that you're going to, be a good ally. But you're right. I do think that as time goes on, it can be a rough spot to be in. It'll be interesting to see if she tries to carry that or if this is just kind of the way she's starting the game to get favor with folks and she'll kind of like take the cloak off soon.
Rachel, I watched the episode back and I really was even amazed on the second viewing of just how much Savannah got in terms of confessionals.
So many.
She really was, the narrator for, she was the Steven of the red team.
Yes. Yeah, it seems like there was kind of one on each, right? Jake
Hmm.
uh got a ton of confessionals on blue, Steven on yellow, and Savannah on red. Do you think that they'll all be pretty big characters?
I think that Jake will be a big character. I thought that Blue was a little bit more even in terms of like Sophie also I thought
Sophie
got a
also got a
lot
lot,
in on
yeah.
the Blue tribe. And I think there was a little bit more talking about Jake, but I really felt like that Steven and Savannah were the two that like really seemed to be okay, this is the main character of this tribe.
Yes. Oh, Savannah and Nate both lying about their jobs.
Yeah.
D- does it matter?
Does it make
The
I
age old,
mean,
the age old question.
I'll ask you. I mean, who
I
was
didn't lie
there
about my job.
you didn't lie about the job. Okay, but who on your season lied about
So
their
many
job?
people: Genevieve, Andy, um, Sue.
Now, how about this? Okay. Was there anybody who told you a job when you were out there that you were like, "Oh, my opinion of this person is different because of this occupation"?
The Well, I do think the lawyer meta at this point is sort of an issue. I think that had Genevieve been like, and I'm a lawyer, I would have been like, this bitch. So I think that that
But
probably,
why? Why?
well,
Who
because
cares? And I
I
know
think,
Kyle was a lawyer and he won.
and Jake got to final three, and like I think that and Katura was final four. Like I do think that at this point, lawyers in the new era have overall performed incredibly well.
Hmm.
I think they've Rob's fact checker. I think they've all made merge. I think that they like have been mid to deep like merge or one. Like I think that it's Julie, like there's so many examples that at this point it's sort of like I think it's like a meta that actually kind of exists. And
Hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily that they're lawyers. Like being a trial lawyer and being a contract lawyer are two very, very different jobs. But I just think that for whatever reason, they've been pretty successful. And I also think there is a perception that they already have money, which doesn't like super help either. Does it really matter? Probably not. But I do think that Nate's probably matters more than Savannah. Like lying that you're not a reporter is probably not a big deal. I mean, Sierra had been a reporter prior and had told us that.
Yeah,
and no
who
one was
cares
like,
about reporter?
Yeah.
If anything, people liked Rick Devens because he was a reporter.
Yeah. And Sam was a
Mhm.
reporter, and he, would do funny bits too. Like it was more entertaining than anything. So I don't think I ever thought of Sam as like, oh, he's so well spoken, which he is, but like I never thought about it in a negative way. And then until maybe Final Tribal.
Yeah.
Going into Final Tribal, I was like, oh shit. But but Nate's is more like a Mike White-esque level
Yeah.
of something that you probably do want to downgrade. And he did, though, in an appropriate way
But
where
it
it wasn't a
worked for Mike
complete
White.
lie.
Why does Nate
Yeah.
not want to tell people about this?
Yeah, and he still was like, I worked on Spider-Man 2, which I think still gives people like a good sense that you're successful, even if you're, trying to pass yourself off as entry level. Yeah, he could just capitalize on that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it doesn't help that he's also like the older guy. I think that there's a lot of things that he's probably feels like are working against him. He's one of the only people that has kids. And so maybe he just wants like one less thing to alienate himself. But maybe it would endear people to him.
Maybe. Yeah. I wonder if he'll end up opening up more. I was really surprised that we did not see him like have a conversation with Jawan about what it is that he does, because Jawan in the
Freaked
preseason,
out.
I know that you did not follow the preseason interviews, but Jawan is super into all of the movies that Nate has worked on. And so Jawan is also a video editor in Los Angeles. Seems like that they have a lot of commonalities. And then it seemed like that they were not really on the same page. I kind of thought that Nate was going to pull him aside and say, hey, Jawan, I want to tell you, I work for Marvel.
Well, and even when he said he worked on Spider-Man 2, Jawan like jumped out of his skin, like it was like he like leapt around the group, like so excited. And I think
I
Nate
worked
had a
on
confessional
Sam
saying
Raimi,
like
Spider-Man 2.
He's the only one that like got super excited about it. And then later in the episode, we like Jawan's like weighing whether he thinks Nate would be a good ally or not, and doesn't seem super into it. So yeah, a lot of these dynamics we need a little bit more time to kind of digest and sit on, I think, because they don't all make sense.
Yeah.
But
it would be such a shame though if they end up not hitting it off during the game, and then after the game is over, Jawan realizes like, oh my God, I was there. It would be like if you were like some like aspiring like political commentator and you didn't realize that you were on the tribe with John Lovett until after the game was over. Like, oh my God, that was John Lovett.
Why did I vote him out first?
I could be on Pod Save America.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But who knows? Maybe they become friends later. We don't know.
Maybe. We'll see. Jawan described the beginning of Survivor as act one of a horror movie. Rachel, I'm not sure if you are a horror movie buff, but did you agree with Jawan's assertion?
Not much of a horror movie buff, but I don't know that I agree. Did you agree?
Well, I felt like that, and I don't have the transcript of it, that the Tevin one, I think I liked a little bit better. I felt like that we were reheating Tevin's nachos a little bit. He said that act one of the horror movie is that you get chased by the monster, and we love the monster in the new era. But he said that in act two, you become the monster.
I mean, I don't think that that's a bad read, but I think that
if it's like a werewolf movie,
like Twilight,
Well, I love Bella became the monster.
I mean,
she did. Spoiler alert. I mean, eventually, right?
20 years. Yeah, eventually. Yeah, I think I get where I was going. There was a lot of these, and we're back to analogies. We kind of got away from it for like a hot minute, and we're right back because
We're right back. What were
Savannah's
some analogies?
reporting
Yeah.
was like how being a reporter is just like the social game on Survivor. So like this is gonna be easy, and who else talked about it? Uh, yeah, I feel like
I'm sure Steven got one in there.
yeah, I'm blanking naturally now, but I
Hmm.
do feel like there was a few more analogies than I remember there being the last couple seasons.
Okay. We're getting ready for 50. What do you think about that montage of all of the Survivor alumni?
It's very interesting. Was Parv the only one that is not on 50 that was shown?
Um, I did not do a like shot by shot. I don't know if, like who the notable snubs were. That might be something that's worth perusing. Perhaps a Twitter thread.
Ah, okay, yeah. Because I remember I saw Ozzy, I saw Jonathan, I
Hmm.
saw
Coach silhouette.
Coach Coachin.
Hmm.
Um, that was like Shannon's buildup. Was you know, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if we should read into it. Should we read into like who they showed
I mean,
and
I'd be curious to know the full list of like who they show from Survivor 50, who they leave out, who they include, who wasn't on Survivor 50. I feel like that's usually a good barometer of who's up and who's down.
I was surprised to see Jonathan like 40 what's his last name? Jonathan Young.
Jonathan Young,
Along with, alongside Parv and Boston Rob and Coach, but
the legends.
to each their own.
Yeah. Okay. Rachel, anything else jump out to you from the premiere of
Oh, we
Survivor
didn't talk about the shoe
49?
bandit.
Oh yeah, the shoe band. What's Jake doing? I listened to that back. He is hiding people's left shoes. He is doing it just for the to be
That's a
night,
giggles.
for fun, but to be a little chaotic. He's the shoe bandit.
I don't, I'm glad he's having fun, but I'm just it seems like a silly like someone know like Nicole was like, how the hell did my shoe get in here? Like at some point people are gonna know that someone's doing it and then they're gonna be looking out for that. And is that really the reason you want to be going home on Survivor because they caught you chucking people's shoes into the woods? Like just kind of silly. Like
You know
doing it
what?
once as like an act of like violence against someone you hate, like
Sure,
okay, but
sure.
being a repeat, like is this a coconut bandit like 2.0 thing that's trying to be happening? Like I don't really get it.
But why is the
But why?
question?
Because at least with the
It's like
coconut bandits, they were getting
I,
nutrition. Like the
you
why
know,
was the nutrition they were benefiting from.
Russell could at least argue why he's gonna burn Jason's socks. He's gonna hide the machete because he's like, I thrive in chaos. I want everybody mad. I want everybody fighting. That's not Jake. Jake doesn't want that. So is he just like gonna when somebody's looking for their shoe? Is he gonna be like a bazinga? Gotcha. You should have seen the look on your
Also, is he
face.
gonna start hiding his ally shoes? Because he's the only, I mean, like
He's running
Annie's
out
the
of
only one.
people.
Yeah.
This
And I
was an
feel like
argument to me. The new era is too long. They have too much time on their hands. Make it 6 days.
16
Yeah.
days. Uh,
Make it 26 hours. They have too much time if this is what they're doing.
yeah, I thought that was a very, very bizarre thing. Yeah. Any other notes? I don't know. Oh, one thing was like Annie was off on her own, right? That was like a big reason why there was a target on her. Was she
Mhm.
off on her own because she was actually looking for something, or was she off on her own just because she was like unaware that she shouldn't be off on her own?
No idols found in the first episode. And I think this could be a situation where perhaps idols were found and then we see them in like the second
Mhm.
episode that maybe narratively they want to introduce them into the second episode. Or perhaps the idols are not hidden yet. No journey, no idols.
Yeah, the preview was a little confusing. They seem to get a note, but then someone says, I don't know who said it, but they're like, I gotta fight against these people or something. Like,
Mhm.
is it just a journey? Is this just a journey, or is this something different? Do you think?
I think that we've gotten episode 2 journeys for the last couple of seasons. I
We didn't
think
have one.
you
47 did not have a episode 2 journey.
and episode 1, did you have one?
No, is that? episode 3 journey.
Oh,
We didn't have a journey. We didn't think
okay,
there
they
were
waited.
journeys because we didn't get one for so long.
Hey, Survivor's keeping everybody on their toes. Sometimes the journey is in episode 2. Sometimes it's in episode 3. You never know.
I just hope, do you think that it's going to be like, maybe that quote is totally BS and it's just them talking about whoever the 2 other people are from the other tribes. But if it is within their own tribe, do you think that it's some sort of, I'm thinking about the like Jelinski, Maria, Tevin like discussion where they had to kind of like 2 people had the 2 tiles and they had to lie or whatever. Do you think that they have to do that within their own tribe? Because that would actually be a lot more impactful than 3 people that aren't going to meet again until the merge.
Yeah. I mean, that would be an interesting way to do it differently. But I just think that for whatever reason, it feels like for Survivor 49, they're like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're not anything new that we have. Save it for 50. Save it for 51.
We're sorry, 49.
We're playing out the string for Survivor 49. This is what it is, everybody. Stop trying to change it, Rob.
Fair enough. I guess we'll find out.
This is the show, okay? There's a reason why we do it. Stop. Leave it. It's fine.
Don't fix it. It's not broke.
It's not broken. It it is fine.
It is. It was a perfectly fine premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Just
yeah.
Nothing unexpected.
All right.
Oh, wait. One last thing. We did not talk about Nicole spitting in Jeremiah's face. We talked about the puking, but we didn't talk about the spitting.
Tell me about that. Okay, so here he is. And of course, you were covered in mud at one point. Did you consider having anybody on your team? Hey, would you mind taking a big swig of your water and then spitting it in my face?
Not for one single second, Rob. But it made a great moment. Another completely unexpected, Jeremiah was like, how do I get this out of my eyes?
Yeah.
And without hesitation, like instantly, it was like the second it crossed her mind that she could do it, it came out of her mouth.
Yeah. Could he not like just pour the water into
we're not allowed to do that. We were told not to take the mud off of our faces. So I do wonder if
was that a loophole?
Seems like a loophole to me.
What if she spits in my face?
What if we take the mud off each other's faces?
You're not allowed to pour the water on your own face, but what if my friend just spit in my face?
Amazing. I mean, awful. I don't know what I would do if someone did that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Although his eyes are closed, so maybe he didn't even kind of realize what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he realized that happened for the first time when he watched it back, thinking that she like sprayed it in his face.
Yeah. I think she said in the exit interview that he asked her to do that. So I have to double check that.
Okay, that changes everything.
Mm-hmm. I think he gave consent for that.
That's good, because that is a pretty intense, non-consensual thing to do to somebody.
Mm-hmm. I said to Nicole that maybe people are going to she's going to go to these Survivor viewing parties and people are going to ask, hey, will you spit a drink in my face? That could be Nicole's thing.
I mean, people gave me rice at these parties. So yeah, I could see it. I could see people,
People want to feel like that you did the thing. They
want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Okay. I have some questions for Rachel here from the listeners. And let me start with a question from Holly, who wants to know, if you're Alex, should you want Jake to be out? Like, sure, he's a meat shield, but who wants to be his bromance, but no one's beating that guy at the final 3 tribal, and he could be a huge immunity threat come merge. If he's lucky, he could maybe Marianne Omer him in a winning move, but that's risky. So Holly's saying that should we see Alex start thinking about getting out Jake?
Maybe. I mean, like we talked about, his story is something I think that would be worrying, and you probably wouldn't want to go to the end with him. But I don't know if we've seen too much strategic prowess from Jake. I don't know if we need to be worried. I don't think it's the same as like a Marianne Omer situation where they're both like very strategic and kind of waiting to strike against the other. To me, Jake reads as like puppy dog loyal to Alex in a way that I think Alex has plenty of time to ride that out before he needs
I
to
think it's
actually
fine.
worry.
I don't think you need to start worrying about this. Worried about getting through this first part of the game.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be plenty of time to think about getting rid of Jake.
Yeah, I think that the idea that we need to get big threats out in the first 3 to 4 votes is it's just too early. Like, the only time you should be worried about that is if the person you perceive as a big threat has no desire to work with you. That's the only time you should be targeting them. Because then when you get to merge that they're gonna like go with someone else and then they could be a problem for you. But if they're loyal to you, it's great. You need you need at least 3 of them. So yeah, you can't risk turning on people that quick.
Okay. Let me bring in a video question. This is something new
Ooh,
that we're trying to do this season. And we
exciting.
opened up our DMs and we said, hey,
Risky business.
slide into our DMs and ask questions for our guest. And if these questions, we're trying it today. My dream is like, hey, I want to do a segment and then we put these on Patreon. Like, it's like, these are really good questions. And maybe it's like, hey, this is like, we're going to check the DMs. Maybe the questions are getting a little, maybe, this is like, hey, let's just be between friends to answer these questions. Nothing salacious, Rachel.
I'm nervous. Glad I get
Okay.
the PG version of this before they get
I
too
wouldn't even say
spicy.
it's not like PG. It's not like, hey, like, what do you do? Like, this is just maybe a question that like, hey, I don't know if I
Yeah,
want
I can't
everybody
say
to
this
hear
in
the
a
answer to
super
this
public
question.
forum. Sure.
Yes. Okay. All right.
All right.
So let's start things off. Okay. And I got a question from Allison. Let's let Allison ask her question. Okay. Here is Allison. Hold on. Sorry, my
It's
bad.
muted.
Muted. Okay.
Hi, Rachel and Rob. I'm Allison. Rachel, who from the season 49 cast, after just one episode, reminds you the most of yourself?
Okay. Good question, Allison.
That is a good question.
Who's the new Rachel?
I don't know that I was looking at the contestants in this way.
Is that hard to do? Have you looked at other seasons, like when you were a viewer of Who's the You in a season?
Yes, but even then, that's like a lot of why, like Kellen was someone that I really resonated with. And I had never really seen anybody else on Survivor that I felt was like similar to me until I saw her play on Ghost Island. So I think that like they're few and far between, and I don't know, maybe that's my own, I'm too close to it. But yeah, I wasn't getting Rachel from too many people. Yeah. Do you have a thought, Rob?
Who could be the Rachel of this
Yeah.
season? Let's see. Now, who's our person who is going to be a very savvy player, somebody who is a triple threat, and probably would have been everybody's winner pick.
Now you're just being nice. Okay.
Who's gonna win the challenges?
I don't know that any one specific person to me is reading that way. I think that if I had to pick, maybe somewhere between like a Sophie B and a Shannon or something. It's hard. Like maybe some
Really,
kind
Shannon?
of mixture. Well, I actually did yoga with my tribe one morning, but so did Annika. So like I think that I'm definitely not like the spiritual type, but we were on Gata. We did like do a couple like yoga sessions. We did go out on the beach, and I was definitely one of the people that was more in that camp. Again, these are very rough comparisons because I don't actually think anybody is really like me. But yeah.
So for me, not that you asked,
I did.
Who's the Rob?
Yes.
It's hard because I feel like that there is two different versions of Rob. There's like the me that was on Survivor, And then there's me now.
Well, the you that's on Survivor is Rizo, right? Like,
Yeah.
no
That's why
question.
I feel like
Yeah.
I could relate to Rizzo because I
Yeah.
feel like that not.
But you're better at puzzles.
I would think I'd be better at puzzles, although I think that in the first challenge of Survivor the Amazon, that Jeff was clowning on me for being a computer guy who can't do the puzzle with a rocket scientist. And even though that we were like, the women had like a 30-minute lead by the time we started the puzzle. I digress. I'd say probably Nate, I think, might be the me now.
Yeah. I see it. Pretty famous. Like, got a lot of clout.
Yeah, but many
The dad.
awards. Sure.
The rad dad.
Rad dad. Yeah. So I think that probably would be a little bit closer to me now. So maybe cross the two together to get me. All right, let's go to Josh Romeo. Here is a question from Josh.
Hey, Rachel. Josh here. First, let me get this out of the way. Big fan. Loved how you played. Loved your creativity in the game. If I ever get to play, I would love to play like you. Moving on from that. I have a question. Do you think, and Rob, do you think that the 3-tribe format is broken and that the 6-person tribe is actually easily gameable, akin to Big Brother? Because I feel like in this episode, every single tribe we saw try and get to 4. And then obviously these are people who know the meta strategy very well. So to stick to it, to survive the like nowhere to hide phase of the game, I feel like maybe it's getting a little bit broken, which can lead to more stagnant pre-merge. And what do you think is the way to fix that? Is it casting more volatile personalities like Say, who did, I guess, make the 4-person alliance, but then broke it up? Or should the 3-tribe just be scrapped immediately because now it's too, people know how to break it?
Okay. All right. So we've had in the new era, all through season 41 through 49, 3 tribes of 6. And now I had been sort of like saying like, well, it's more the samey, same. What if they said, that, you know what? After season 49, we're retiring the 3 tribes of 6 as the standard for Survivor, but let's run it back one more time. Now I got a whole different feeling about season 49.
Yeah. I mean, wait, do you though? Like, if this was the last time you're saying?
If this was the last time, and maybe they could do it again in the future, but now if Jeff came out and said, hey, you know what? Season 50 is coming up. This is, season 41 through 49 was 3 tribes of 6, and this was the new era. And you wait till you see what we're going to do in season 51. That I feel like I would feel a little bit different about this as opposed to this is how it will be forever.
Yeah. I agree. And because I do think it's broken. I do think that you find your 4, and as long as you know you're in the 4, there's literally no incentive to do anything else, because you can't do anything else without like risking somebody else in your 4 telling everybody else, and now you're on the bottom, you're on the outs. So it's just, there is no wiggle room. And once you're down to 5, there's definitely no wiggle room. So it's just like, I do think it's broken. I do think it needs to stop. I think everyone has gamed it to death. 3 tribes of 8. We'll see how that plays out. But I think that like, just give us 2 tribes of 10.
The thing I'm worried about now is like, okay, and you're right that everybody knows you got to get into a 4. I wonder if the answer that they feel like that they have is that we see like in Survivor 48, we're going to start to see now, okay, you thought you had your 4, but what happens when people start going on journeys and now people start losing their vote? Now, what are you going to do about the 4?
Yeah, but that hasn't made the most compelling dynamics either. It just tends to screw over the people that are either in a majority and now not because they don't have the vote, or like we're already in the minority and are just extra screwed. I think that, or swap like twice in the pre-merge. Like if you're gonna insist on that, then we need to like make sure that these dynamics can't stay these dynamics for more than a few days at a time. Like you need to make it so that people are so scared of like, yeah, I have a 4, but I could get swapped with the 2 people that have no relationship with and have no incentive to have a relationship with. And now I have to make sure that I'm playing everybody because tomorrow everything could change. Like, then yeah, we need to have more tribe dynamics shifting if we're going to stick to groups of 6.
Okay. Let's take another question. And this is from Alejandro. Has a question for you. All right.
Sing Lady Gaga.
Oh, hold on. I didn't put it on the screen. I'm sorry. All right. Let's take that again.
Hello everyone, big fan from Costa Rica. I used to watch it way back when with Spanish dub 20 plus years ago. The first seasons I remember watching Marquesas, being conscious about it, about what the game was about. My question for Rachel is just wanted to know how meaningful is your relationship with Caroline? As my favorite player that she is become. Wanted to know more details, more insights about what's most valuable that you can take from this relationship, given the fact that she brought it out for you in the final travel council. Kind of you teased it up on your Q&A on your social media, but yeah, basically it. So wishing you the best. Blessings.
Okay. How
Wow.
meaningful is your relationship with Caroline?
Caroline Vidmar. So meaningful. I love Caroline. This is a fun question. Yeah, in the game, Caroline was my only ally. Not only ally, sorry, my biggest, closest ally. After Sierra's voted out until the day she went home, and we really didn't see that on the show, which was surprising to me and a big bummer. But yeah, she was my strategic like person out there. And in real life, she is amazing. I adore Caroline. She's always like just so positive, so willing to hear out whatever's going on, find solutions. She's a problem solver.
She's a problem solver.
And yeah, super important person to me. So I love that. Thanks, Alejandro.
Now, I know that you had backup plans on backup plans, but let's just say that the Project Italy worked as originally incepted, and somehow they got you out at Final 7. Okay?
Yeah.
And they blindsided you, and you didn't play your extra vote, and you went out. What would have happened?
Okay, so that happens at 7. Then
And it's who's left? Andy, Sam, Genevieve, Caroline, Sue, and Teeny.
Well, I believe Andy's plan was to swing back to us if it was successful. So assuming he goes back with Sue and Caroline and probably Teeny, because I think Teeny was sort of on the fence between those two alliances.
And Sue really didn't like him because Andy voted out her sweet Caroline.
Right. So I think that would have been less of an issue. And I assume that they take out either Genevieve or Sam at 6. It's hard to know from there, but I think if they get one of the two of them out at 6, Caroline, assuming she might be a target between whoever's left between Sam and Genevieve at that point, they have Sue's idol. So yeah, I mean, looking more at the end game of like a Teeny, Sue, Caroline, and Andy, Caroline, Sue, like it's there's way too many variables, but I definitely think that if Caroline gets to the end in a combination like that, she definitely has a shot to win. Like if it was a Caroline, Sue, Teeny final 3, I pretty undoubtedly would have voted for Caroline. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's a question for you about the first challenge, and this is from Jackson. Has a question for you. Here's Jackson.
Hey, Rachel and RHAP. My name is Jackson from Virginia, and my question is about the marooning challenge. where would you have wanted to be both as a competitor and also strategically in the 3 different aspects of the challenge to not put a target on your back? And also if you could give a little insight on what it's like strategizing as a tribe before you go into a challenge and where people want to be going into that challenge. Thanks, y'all.
Okay,
The
remind
listeners
me.
are great that
They are
they're
great.
so succinct, and it's like a reverse cameo of that
It is
you're
a
getting
reverse
messages from the listeners, and
I
they get right
know.
to the point.
Okay, remind me, Rob. So the challenge it was, because I'm getting the 2 of them mixed up. They run
Mhm.
into the woods to get.
That's right.
No, that was the second one, right? The woods was the snake.
They ran into the wood, like both. The second
Okay.
challenge, I actually am a little bit more familiar with because I watched it
I
on the
know,
influencer
same.
edition also.
They had to get the blocks.
There was running, there was swimming,
There was
there was the
blocks, there was
puzzle,
swimming, there
there
was
was
puzzle.
the hero moment where you have to. It didn't really like. I don't know if MC
Climb
was
on the
just so
thing
good at
and
it. It did
just.
not seem like that was very difficult at
It's like
all.
the
That
hero
last
moment
part.
was the people that solved the damn puzzle, Jeff. Like that's a hard puzzle. So yeah, I was surprised by that too.
Mhm.
Definitely not the swimming. That looked like a long swim. I can swim, but I'm not that quick.
No.
So I wouldn't have wanted that. I probably could have done the running. Ideally, I'd have been on the puzzle. So I definitely that would have been my spot there. As far as strategizing pre-challenge, it is very fast. And I'd be curious how it was when you played, Rob. But
Okay.
we have 90 seconds maybe to
90
talk.
seconds.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It is because they'll walk us through the whole challenge and Jeff will explain it, but we're not allowed to talk during that. The only thing you
Oh.
can do is say like you can ask a question of Jeff, like to Jeff, like, "Oh, could we try
Yes.
this?" And he'll answer, but you can't be like, "Okay, I'll do this." Like you're mic'd up and they're like, "Stop talking." Like you're not allowed to talk. So, you're only allowed to speak to one another for like 90 seconds before the challenge begins. And it really goes so fast, which is like you have to prioritize our marooning challenge. I was like, we have to make sure the weight in the boat is equal. We have to be careful who is getting in the boat and who is getting out of the boat and where the chests are. And it was like, no. And then our boat flips over. Like, so you have to know what to prioritize and you have to have a voice in those conversations in a very short amount of time when you don't know any of these people. So it's not easy. But how was it for you?
So I'm trying to remember back. I don't feel like it was as strict back then.
Okay.
And I really only remember like a couple of times where we had like sort of like a big obstacle course where we were asking Jeff a lot of questions. I remember being able to ask like a lot of questions in terms of, because I'm always the person of like, well, what if we did blah, 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 blah. So I don't think that there was like as strict of a cutoff. I wonder if that was more of a recent innovation to like make sure like, okay,
Well,
let's have them on camera having these fights.
Well, we could ask kind of as many questions as we wanted of Jeff, but could you have said like, okay, we should do it that way then, like, blah, 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 blah. Because it was kind of like you could ask the questions, but you weren't allowed to draw the conclusions from those questions to each other strategically,
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember there being as much of a debate about
Yeah.
things.
It was
I
a
think like
whole
a little.
thing. So
I feel like it was a little bit more, at least in my tribe, it was like, okay, you just sort of like got doled out the information of here's who's doing what.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got one more question for you. And this is about who from Survivor. Oh, I'm not going to ask her a question. Let me bring in, this is Elaine. And Elaine has a question for you. And it's about puzzles. Here's Elaine.
Hi, Lane.
Hi, Rachel, you're one of my favorite New Era winners. I felt like I related to you so much and you played the game how I would have wanted to. I figured I would ask who, based on the first episode, would you have recruited to your speed puzzling team? Thanks, and can't wait to play Puzzle Hungry.
Okay.
Love it. Puzzle hungry love. Well, who's on the puzzle for yellow? Because they got it done.
Jason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you
was-
need Jason.
It was Jason and Christina, right? It's the two of them? I don't remember.
I have to go back. I have to go
okay.
back. Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I think probably Jason. I feel like,
What
we would
about
have had
Alex?
the alternate. He did say he was good at puzzles. It's hard to tell how good he was at that
He
puzzle
said he
since
loves to do
Rizzo.
jigsaw puzzles.
No, that's true. That's true. But, I also think that like jigsaw puzzles are my best form of jigsaw. Well, okay, yeah. Speed puzzling. I was thinking about Survivor. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we'll have a competition we'll let Alex and Jason duke it out and we'll see which one's better.
Yeah. Okay. So they'll all play Puzzle Hungry. They'll try to beat you, but they
Mhm.
can't.
Never know. Hey, at the we'll be at RHAP in New York next couple weeks,
Yeah.
and you can play me in a fake version of Puzzle Hungry, in a puzzle. You can
Okay.
play me in a puzzle.
Tell people a little bit about Puzzle Hungry in case that they did not catch the podcast or any of the announcements about the game that you designed.
Yeah, so I, along with Ryan, Playstead of Vexel, we came up with this board game idea, and it's essentially like a competitive jigsaw puzzle game. And it has these like nods to Survivor. The pieces are double-sided, which is not normal for like a jigsaw puzzle. And it is a competition. So it's a restaurant-based game, and so you're plating different Japanese food. And Rob will have to do the edamame and I'll have to do some like maki, and they're worth different points and you are racing against each other. There are other cards that you can draw that are not puzzles that give you like advantages, or you can kind of sabotage, and it's really fun. It's really I think it brings like the intensity of a Survivor challenge, like mentally, where you're kind of like frazzled and you're a little shaky. And that was definitely one of like an inspiration for me. You're kind of always chasing that high when you get home. And I wanted a way to compete in puzzles without it being, speed puzzling is like very long form. And you can play it in like in half an hour. So super excited about it. We launch on Kickstarter in a couple weeks, and you'll be able to back that there. We'll have the game won't be available for Christmas, but you can get other like wooden puzzles of the same foods like, for gifts. And we will be at RHAP New York and San Francisco, your 2 events this season. And you can play me in some puzzles.
Yeah. And unlike Rizo, you're not going to be able to cheat off of your neighbor because everybody's working on a different puzzle. How
Yeah,
about
there
that?
are 19 different puzzles in this game, and not one of them is the same. So no cheating. Although you said Nicole managed to cheat, huh?
She cheated not at the puzzle, but she cheated she had a disadvantage, and she said she like cheated with like she had to, you have to roll the dice to get a certain die roll so you could stop the punishment, and she just like said she did it, and who's gonna fight her on that?
Not me.
Like, what do I want to be like? Get divorced over? That's not fair. You're cheating at Puzzle Hungry.
Yeah, not worth it. Not worth it. Just yes, chef.
Yeah, just sometimes with what they say, it's just like let your wife do whatever she wants when she's trying to cheat at a board game. That's the old saying.
That I've heard it many times. Yeah, tales all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Rachel, Puzzle Hungry is not going to break up this marriage.
No.
And it probably will only strengthen many other relationships that are out there.
I hope so.
Friend groups. The Survivor 47 Airbnbs have been lit, I hear.
The best. I love my cast.
Yeah. Your cast or your tribe recently won the which new era tribe would you most like to hang with we did a poll, very scientific.
Love it. I got that text and was like, amazing. I didn't know this was happening, but I'm so happy that we won.
Yes. And really, I think the entire season 47 cast may have now taken the title of the closest Survivor cast of all 49.
We have more time, Rob, but I think that we are doing well. We have good communication. And
can you give some advice to Survivor 49 for anybody that might be listening?
Talk it out, y'all. Like there is things that you said about each other out there that your castmates need to hear from you before they hear them on television. And I think that our ability to have those tough uncomfortable conversations before the airing gave us the ability to move on from them. And you know, a lot of us expose things we said that were never shown on TV. Like you know, it's kind of this unfortunate thing that you have to admit, but also you said them. So just tell them so they don't get blindsided by it.
Let me take some notes because I want my Traders cast to be the tightest
I
Traders
can't
cast
wait.
of
When
all.
does that air, Rob? When do we get to watch
Stay tuned.
you?
So if I said something about somebody in the confessional, should I tell them now what I said?
I think it depends how much you want to be friends with them in the future.
Okay.
You know, but probably I would. I just think that, you know, you should brace them for impact. You might not want to tell them verbatim what you said, but you could at least be like, I really like you now, Rob, but
here's
I wasn't
my
very
old
nice.
strategy. Like, this is what I used on Survivor. It was like, well, maybe they're not going to air it.
Yeah, but then when they
Maybe
do,
I'll get
Rob,
away
they're
with
gonna
one.
hate you forever.
But the audience will love it.
I don't think the audience cares if you told them ahead of time or not.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Did you say a lot? Did you talk a lot of shit on Traders?
Listen, I can't disclose.
I'm
any
so
of this
excited,
yet,
Rob.
Rachel.
I want to know.
All right. Well, Rachel, what else is going on for you? Puzzle hungry. Anything else coming up? You're just full time working on getting the good word out.
This is the only thing I've done in the last week. I feel like that wasn't puzzle hungry. I wish I was kidding, but yeah, we are full steam ahead on that. So really,
maybe I'll bring it to the Traders Airbnb.
Yeah, please do.
Dorinda's gonna love it.
Give it to Travis Kelce's mom. I want to invite to that wedding.
Donna?
Right?
Yes. Yeah, like, hey, Donna.
Are you gonna be at the wedding, Rob? Do you think?
I have to check my schedule.
You better tell Donna everything you said about her out there, so you can be friends. Okay.
That's a good good note. Okay. All right, Rachel. Where can people keep up with you?
I am Rachel LaMont on Instagram, and that's kind of it. But yeah, and playresolve.com. Sign up for emails. I write them, so it's like keeping up with me.
Okay.
All right.
And for Friday, we have a busy day. I'm going to be doing the Survivor Q&A. I'll be taking patron questions, just like we had questions for Rachel, but I'll be taking questions live at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll also be doing a Big Brother Q&A. Also, we will have on Patreon Club Condo coming up on Monday. Plus, I will be talking about the Big Brother edition of The Amazing Race. Rachel, in all your CBS reality TV watching, have you ever been an Amazing Race watcher?
I watched the start of the season that had like Rupert and Corinne. I watched
the
like
other
four
CBS reality
episodes.
Amazing Race season.
Yes, right. I watched like 4 episodes of that, and then not really besides that, but I am fascinated by it. I think it's just on a little late for me, to be honest. But I am interested in watching it, especially now that, you know, like Izzy and Jag and like people that I did see, because I did watch one season of Big Brother. I am more invested. So.
People you know from the reality circuit are going to be playing and racing around the world. So I'll be on that on Thursday night as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.